morning, Drift, and you are watching Look Up TV. If you have just tuned in for the first time, we are here and we bring vibrance and positivity. Besides entertainment and road safety tips, we also look at the current affairs. What is going on in the country? Because one thing for sure, for you to be part of the government as a democratic country that we are, you need to be empowered with what exactly is going on in the country. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the political scene, economic scene, the sports, the education matters, and that can only be done with the assistance of experts, political analysts, advocates, who are of course joining me here this morning. So I'd like to just go straight into the segment. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for creating time.
Thank you.
Advocate Okinyo, it's really good to have you.
It's a pleasure being here with you.
And we're looking forward to some legal perspectives to what is happening in the country. Yeah.
Pleasure.
All right. Also, I have with me a political aspirant, but among that, among other things, he's a political aspirant. You, of course, tell us what you are, vying for later on. But for now, Cliff, it's good to have you, Mr. Cliff.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So we just want to go straight into what's going on. But remember, just talk to us also. Give us your opinions. But we'll just be rushing through the current affairs. What's trending? They might not really be in the papers, but these are stories that are making headlines today. All right? Still, political scene taking center stage. And it's been what we're talking about day in, day out, day in, day out. And what we're seeing here today is that there is race for Raila's running mate. Let's talk about the political scene generally. Oka is featuring. Now there's Raila's running mate. People do not know who might be the presidential, candidates come 2022. So maybe you want to give your first opinion or perception on this particular political scenario.
It is now a problem for everyone who wants to run for president. But then what I've been saying before is what I'll say again. It is who brings more than the other, whose basket is full, who can amass more votes for this particular presidential candidate. And so we are looking at a background that generates that particular those particular numbers. In this case, we are talking about very many people, and we are going to narrow it down to one for each. So we are talking about two, because from what we are getting is it's going to be a two-horse race. What the indications are, it is going to be a two-horse race, but we are not ruling out other people coming in. But then we are saying for those two horses, then we are saying whoever that brings more votes, or whoever that shows that he's going or she's going to bring more votes, that is the person who's going to be a running mate. Yes. All
right, that's how it works. That's your opinion on that. I don't know if you have some remarks and some perspectives on that political scene.
About the running mate position,
yes.
I look at it from a perspective of loyalty. A running mate must be somebody who is loyal to the boss, somebody who has that as that quality of loyaltiness, somebody who's ready to support the boss, and somebody who's generally being accepted by the people. And it has to be the boss, the presidential candidate, to pick this running mate, because currently, from the experience, the 9 years we have been having, it is more like we are having two centers of power, and that has always bring confusion. And to cure that, I think it should be left to the hand of the presidential candidate to pick his or her own running mate. Also, from a legal perspective, you see, currently with the constitution, the office of the deputy president is literally functionless. Unless the president gives you some job to do, you are jobless generally as a deputy president. And we are seeing even the perception and the campaigns where even ministers are being accused of undermining the current deputy president. So I believe like the American Constitution, the American Constitution, the vice president has a bit of powers. He swears in cabinet secretary, he chairs in meetings, which are constitutional,
All right.
not delegated by the president.
president.
You saw, like now, the American president is now, he went for an operation. Now he delegated all those powers to the vice president. Now, currently, the president has that. As it is at the discretion of the president, he can delegate it to anybody or somebody else. We have seen Matiang'i chairing cabinet subcommittees, which literally should be the function of the president. So from a legal perspective, we need to at least give this office some powers.
All right.
Some powers, so that at least we don't see ministers being accused of undermining the number two.
All right. Let's take a look at another, rising issue. I don't know if you wanted to touch on the Oka situation before we, step out of the political scene.
Yes, and these coalitions, the coalitions that be right now, are going also to form the basis of who's going to be a running mate for who. Because from these coalitions, we are hearing like there are malls, there's a mall in Oka or something. This is politics, and that is bound to happen. So from these coalitions, whichever coalition that carries a lot of weight, that's where we may get a deputy president from.
All right.
Because these people are playing a short game, short-term game.
All right.
And short-term game, it's business. So for them, they want to be seen as people who are working and people who can pull a mass, but then not that much. So at the end of the day, they pull it to a level of the deputy president. So who is going to get this from these particular coalitions?
Okay.
Again, that is also going to play.
All right.
Yes.
I think let's just, I hope they're following as well, just touching on a few things. Let's go to social issues. And so far, even this morning, we have highlighted the Kenyans in diaspora as a situation, especially in the Middle East. It's been something we talk about a lot. And now currently, the parliament, as I can see, probes alleged torture of Kenyans in Saudi. We're seeing a bit of action. And the torture of Kenyans in Saudi Arabia has been an endless tale of sadness. That's, if you have, followed it, I don't know what you have to say at this point in time, because we even saw the domestic labor, bills, as it laws that were came up with. We came up with that, but really the implementation. So Kenyans are saying this, has been an endless tale of sadness. I don't know what your remarks are. We'll start with Advocate Okinye.
On that note, I believe it's just the legal framework guiding Kenyans going abroad to, especially to the Arab nations.
Right.
Because we have Kenyans going to Europe, we have Kenyans going to the Americas, world, Australia. We don't get to hear of such issues. I think it's more of a diplomatic issues, more of laws being enacted, labor laws. I believe the Minister for Labor needs to come up with a substantive and a concrete answer to that. We have seen agents who are colluding with most of the people who go to Saudi Arabia. You are being taken as a house help, then you find when you arrive there, so the collusion, they weed out. I don't mean like all agents are bad, but they need to be vetted afresh, and some legal framework to be put in place to guide these agents who are taking people to abroad. Because generally there are like few cases I'm dealing with. The lady is very innocent. She's going to the Arab world as a domestic worker. Now, when she arrives there, it is not that job. There's some other jobs that you're doing. And when you don't comply, you don't comply with those jobs, you are harassed, sometimes you are kicked, you get injured. So I believe it's just a legal framework to guide the process.
So there you have it, a legal framework. That's what you suggest from a legal perspective. What are your remarks on what is currently going on with the Kenyans in diaspora?
When we said diaspora here, then
the Middle East.
Let us just stick to Middle East.
Yes, sorry
because
about
this is where the problems are coming in from.
Yeah.
And looking at that, we are seeing Qatar, we are seeing Saudi Arabia most.
Yes.
Because the recent ones are Saudi Arabia. Now, it's not a matter of the law. As I said again, I've repeated this. We have very many policies, very many laws as a country. But it is the implementation of these laws. We really cut corners. We really do cut corners as Kenyans. And what we need to do is follow the law when it comes at least to human life.
All right.
Because we are talking about these women, these are human beings. But when we decide to take them to the Arab world, to them, they are going out to actually for greener pastures. But when you find like you're not following the law to protect them, because there's a law protecting them. Even if we don't have a law in Kenya, then we have what we call human rights law. Wakili here will tell you that this is a universal law.
All right.
Like human rights is human rights wherever. So at the end of the day, it is how serious are we in following up these cases? Because at the end of the day, these agencies work with government. These particular people do not go out without government knowing that these people are going out to work.
All right.
So protecting them is a sole purview of the government. And so the least they can do is actually protect their human rights using even the universally accepted human rights law.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about it is, we have the laws, what Wakili here said we need more laws or we need proper laws.
We have the laws.
But we have laws and the implementation,
Yes.
according to you, could be where the loophole is.
Yes.
Well, let's just look at another story. Of course, these are stories that are developing, so getting your perspectives on each of them is very, very important. I would relate to this story that has been highlighted on our digital platforms on how inmates buy their freedom. And I think that's a matter of concern, because I'm relating this to a story which is now also making headlines on Matters Crime, where a recaptured terror convict says he would escape again. All right, I would not specify which daily it is, but of course you can always grab some of these headlines. And to read a bit of it is that the prisoner adds that some of those who aided their escape have not been arrested, which puts their lives at risk. And he says it took 18 months of careful planning with crucial help from warders to break out of Kamiti Maximum Security prison. And one of the 3 recaptured terror convicts, like I've said, in an explosive court session said yesterday. He actually said that in a court session. So I don't know what you have to say about our security and what it means when inmates actually explain how they can buy their freedom, and when a recaptured terror convict says, I will escape again. I'll start with you, sir.
I believe the bigger issue that why these prisoners are confident is an issue to do with the responsibility. You know, the recent happening at a committee, nobody wants to take the blame that I did this, I did this, I did this. There's a saying from the community that says that the fish starts rots from the head. You know, if the head is bad, that fish, that whole fish is bad. You know, what we needed by now was heads rolling on their own. You know, the whole Ministry of Interior. You know, we should not be having at least somebody takes responsibility for the actions. This is what has been happening in developed countries, and you know, the level of corruption there is a bit low. Yeah? You, as a minister, you just take responsibility that this has happened under my ministry. Okay. I don't deserve to be in this office. Exactly. You know, and that has been the problem facing Kenya in general. You know, you are the one responsible, but you pass the buck to somebody else. So this person passed the buck to another person. So you get it's the junior officers who are being sacrificed. Okay. But police juniors, they don't act on their own. Exactly. They don't act on their own.
Because we're seeing here, someone says a warder helped us plan for 18 months.
If they are told.
If these people can get out of committee, you know, the committee is a very secure place. Maximum security. Yeah. It is a place where if you escape, you are paid.
Exactly.
As a prisoner.
All right.
You should be paid.
You are actually agreeing with the sentiment.
Yes. Yes. But then to add on top of that, as much as the buck stops with the one who leads that particular docket. Yes. Where we want to say it is the Ministry of Interior and who heads it. We are also saying that there can be more than meets the eye. It's not black and white, because we are talking about a level, this is a level 6 more or less. It's maximum. So if somebody can escape from there, how many have escaped from wherever else that we are talking about? How many have escaped from Nairobi West, men's prison?
Yes.
So we are saying that there is someone who is sleeping on their jobs. Yes, we've not had much of this, though we've had cases before of escapees. But we are saying there is someone who is sleeping on their jobs. As much as the buck stops with whoever that has the docket, we are saying that everybody should take responsibility. How can someone get or escape under your nose, you know? So even if you were told or there were orders that these people should escape, you know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. There is a lot that goes on there. In order for these people to escape, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of work. As they've said, it's 18 months of careful planning, but it has to be an inside job.
All right.
Somebody has to be paid. Okay. Now, the bottom line, if I have a second, I can say this.
Yes.
It's about money. Somebody pocketed money, because these are people who are funded by these terror groups. So we are saying they have money. So somebody funded these people's escape. So who is this that pocketed this money? So follow the money, get the person who actually did this, or who aided these people to escape.
And two things.
Just to
as we wrap up here.
On the same point, just like my friend here said, you know, this thing has happened in the biggest correctional facility we have in Kenya. What about these other small prisons? You know? The other small, like I believe each county, each district has some
prison. Yeah.
This has happened in the biggest prison that we have, and as I said, it's a prison where if you manage to break out, you are paid when you're found. Now, it is now exposing the general lapses. Because if it has happened here, what about these other small prisons? What about the other general prisons? You know, and the best way to find out this is for heads to roll. All these people involved in the management of the prisons, from the minister all the way.
They should step down.
We have the DCI boss now having some cases.
Yeah. They should step out.
They should step down. Yes.
Proper auditing be done when they are not in the office.
Yes.
So that we get to the bottom of this, because you see what happened in committee, it is something that should not generally
happen.
And to consider that these are people who are facing terrorist-related sentence, it doesn't augur well.
It doesn't.
And then that is just on security matters. Also arising as we close this segment, gentlemen, I'll encourage us to be brief on this one, is the now new COVID-19, alarm. Yeah, so we're looking at the economy, and we're seeing that COVID-19 to top the President Uhuru Kenyatta's address. So today we are expecting the state address. The 8th, of course, our sitting president. Yeah. And I'd love to hear your sentiments on what do you expect the address to be about. COVID-19 is here. There's the Omicron. From your perspective where you sit, what do you expect this address to have? And then we'll come to you very briefly as we close the review.
I believe top of the agenda, of his agenda, the president's agenda, would be how far have we gone with COVID? The fight against COVID. How far are our vaccines in terms of how many people have been vaccinated, etc., etc. And then he may touch a bit, or he should touch a bit on the Omicron variant. Yeah. And then now talk about how it has affected us and how he or his government has cushioned us, as a people. And finally, we cannot leave politics out. He needs to tell us what is his plan. What is his plan on leaving his legacy? He will talk a bit about his legacy and whatever he wants to leave behind.
All right.
Yes, in terms of his projects, and etc.
The for agenda, how far we've come. And of course, Kenyans are waiting to hear, do we have a lockdown? Do we not have a lockdown? Advocate, as we close.
Yeah, I believe there are two things the president seriously needs to address, just to concur with my colleague. It's about the current COVID situation. We are seeing now now it's a month. He opened up the economy. he needs to give us like what he has cushioned about with the economy, how he intends to grow the economy from here. The new variant, like COVID will be here with us until the end of time. How maybe we need to speed up on the vaccination program.
All right.
And just address general issues to do with COVID. Then number two, I believe like this is his last, this may be his last State of the Nation address, and he needs to give us at least how his government is prepared for the next election. You know, IBC is complaining about fundings, and you know, Kenya elections, if you add plus COVID now, with the general elections, we can even plunge into chaos.
Okay.
You know, we need to put system, he needs to tell us the system that his government has put in place to avoid any bloodshed when it comes to August next year.
All right, I guess we end it here.
Just as, if I may add
if you
something,
may,
just
we're
a
running
second.
out of time for the
Just
review.
a second. Like, give me a second to say
All right.
this. Since we are on live TV, we do not want to say anything about violence.
Yes,
we do not expect that, and we are saying as a people, we need not even tolerate that particular idea in our heads, because we have the power to do whatever we want. So why don't we use that power to actually bring peace or work towards peace instead of thinking violence? There will be no violence. We will do what we have to do
Advocate
to maintain
Okinyo,
peace.
My
Yeah.
sentiments were just based on our history.
We can't start talking about violence.
History is
We can't.
The
We will
history
not
is here with
accept
us,
it.
but we are talking about not actually,
Yes.
having this, spoken over
Yes,
about
we can't.
violence. And I hope I hope that's okay.
We cannot.
If he did understand you, if I did understand you,
Yes.
but we have to close the review segment. You want a second to clarify?
Yeah, just to clarify, Kenya has a history, and majorly apart from, it is in the known, it's in the domain, we cannot bury our heads in the sand. It's something we need to avoid at all costs, considering how the economy is now dragging down with COVID. We need to avoid what happened in 2007.
Yes.
All right.
What happened
Yes,
in
that's true.
2013,
Yes.
what happened in 2017. We need to avoid all that.
Because we have the power.
It is
Us.
the president as a head of state. That's why I say
Yes.
he needs to address the country on the election preparedness as a head of state, as a symbol of national unity, as somebody who wants to live. He has always promised that he wants to leave this country united.
Yes.
All right. So we're just
Those
talking
are my
about.
sentiments.
Thank you very much. And I think we both really, did a great job just talking about what is going on and making headlines and about the Kenyans in Middle East. So there's a lot going on in the country that I think the Kenyans need to be aware of. And I think, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Of course, our political aspirant is here. We'll have a session with him again to talk more about his aspirations. That is Mr. Aboki Cliff,
Yes.
aspiring member of parliament for Langata.
Yes, yes.
And of course, Advocate Okinyo, a practicing advocate of the High Court of Kenya. We look forward to the big conversation. If the gentlemen stay with me for the big conversation, it will be great. But I also have amazing guests lined up for you for the big conversation. And we are asking ourselves, the climatic change, it is now an emergency. So the big conversation is the climate emergency. After this short break, keep talking to me on Facebook. We have a live stream, and on Twitter @LookUpTV. We'll be right back.